Good morning everyone, this is Vishwanath Sandilya, international rated player in chess. Okay, so this is a promotional video for Facebook users, and this also helps me to find some online students. So I hope this will definitely will give you a good chance to start your career by playing chess. Okay, so this is a chessboard. So in chessboard, king is the most important piece. Without king there is no game. So king, we have to protect the king. So about the movement of king moves only one square at a time. So it goes in any of the direction around it, but only one square. Even black also have the same thing. So while playing the game, first white have to play. And if white king or anything just moves, now next turn will be the blacks. Okay, now coming to the other pieces, this is a rook, and this rook will move in straight directions. You can see just like we have 4 different directions, rook also will move in 4 different directions. In chess we call them as ranks and files. This horizontal thing is called rank, and from bottom to top we call this as file. Okay, so if someone says how the rook will move, we can say it's at ranks and files. Rook will move in ranks and files. Okay, so we have our ranks and files in chessboard. That's how rook is going to move. Coming to the next piece, this is a bishop, and bishop moves in diagonals. So we have 2 bishops in a chessboard. So both the bishops will move in 2 different diagonals. We have one white bishop and one dark bishop. So white bishop moves in white squares and dark bishop will move in dark squares. So this is about bishop. So bishop will not change the color where it is moving. It can go to any number of squares till the end. So next we are going to come for queen. As we know, queen is the most powerful of all the pieces. It can go same like a rook and a bishop, you can say. It can move like a rook in a file wise or a rank wise. It can even move like a bishop in a diagonal. So if you see, this queen is covering almost like 27 squares if it is in the center. So that's a way too many squares. So that is why the queen is the most powerful piece among all other pieces. So next we are going for the knight. Knight has a very peculiar movement. It can be called as an L shape. You can say knight will go like an L shape. So just we'll draw a line called L. Can you see this one? This looks like a L. Okay, so and this is the like a reverse L. You can see it can go any of these 2 directions. If you turn the board, you can see the L in either side of the board, just like this. It can go either forward or backward. And one good thing about knight is it is the only piece that can jump from other pieces. So there is no abstraction for the knight movement. Anything it will just go, and it can jump from other pieces. So for example, I'll just show you. Now if you see, we have 3 pawns here, and I just want to move this knight to this square, just like an L shape to this square. I can directly move my knight from here to here. even though I have two pawns in between this, it will jump and it can directly go to the square which I want. And knight is the only piece that changes color from other square. For example, now it is in the dark color, now it is going to the light color. So from the light color it can go only to the dark colors. So it is always changing its colors. It won't be coming into the same color. And for knight check, we'll come about what is a check. For knight check, king won't have any options. He should just move the king. Okay, so we'll come to the check and all those things later in this video. Okay, now coming to the pawn. Pawns are the souls of chess. Without pawns, the chess won't be so much interesting. So these are called the soul of chess. Okay, now we are going to see how a pawn moves. Pawn moves only forward. It goes only one square. So like this. Like this. When the pawn is in the beginning stage, like we have 8 pawns in the beginning, when the pawns are in the beginning stage, it can move 1 or it can move 2 squares, depending on the position. So all the 8 pawns which are there in the beginning can move either 1 square or 2 squares. It's on your wish. Even though pawn moves straight, it cannot capture straight. I'll just give you an example. So let us see these 2 pawns now. My pawns are in the beginning. I'll just move this pawn to 2 squares, and my opponent also have a chance to move the pawn 2 squares. Now both the pawns are blocking each other. So now I cannot move forward anymore because this pawn is blocking. Pawn cannot move forward to capture the enemy pawn. So pawn can, how does a pawn can kill? It kills only cross, that too diagonally, 1 step. Now let us see in this next one. Now you can see my opponent pawn is in this file. So if I move the pawn here 2 squares, and if my opponent plays 2 squares, now these 2 pawns are in the cross, that is in diagonal 1 square, so that now I can capture this pawn. So this is how pawn captures. So one more thing about the pawn is, pawn when reaches the last rank, it can be promoted. See, for example, I'm just moving this pawn to the last rank. It gets promotion to any of these 4 pieces. I can take a queen, I can take a rook, I can take a bishop, or I can take a knight. So queen is the most powerful piece, so most of us will like to take a queen. Now I have a doubt. For example, I have a queen on the board, just like this. Now what happens when a pawn moves to the last rank? You can promote the pawn to 1 more queen. Even though you have a queen on the board, you can take 1 more queen. So any pawn that reaches the last rank, you can promote to any of these 4 pieces like queen, rook, bishop, or a knight. There is one more rule called n% about the pawns, but I'm not going to teach that n% rule in this video. Okay, so now we will come to how to arrange the board and how to arrange the pieces. So let me remove all this. So for most of us, they don't know how to arrange the board. So just remember, while you're arranging the board, your right hand corner square, this one, that square should be white color. For both the players, the right hand corner square will be white. Just this is an easy way to arrange. If I turn the board from black, the same thing, my right hand corner square is white color. So we have kings opposite facing each other, and the easy way to remember the king's position is white king is in the dark color or black king is in the white color. Now you can say in another easy way while arranging the board and the pieces. We have queens side beside the king and queens on its own color. So this is the easy way to remember while arranging the pieces. White queen on white square and black queen on black square. Then after queen we have two bishops protecting both the king and the queen. Just like this. Two bishops facing each other, and the same way both bishops, and these two bishops will be protecting the king and queen. Then we have two knights like this, two knights, and finally we have two rooks. So this is the places of rooks. Both have two rooks. To defend this pieces, we have 8 defense pawns for black and 8 pawns for white, just like this. So this is the arrangement of chessboard. Now I am going to show you the squares and its names. Squares and names are very easy to recognize in any chessboard. These squares and names represent the unique name of a particular square where the piece is moving. So this will help you to write down the game, to note the game. This is very much helpful. And in international level, writing the game is compulsory. While playing a tournament, you need to write the game. You need to write both your move and your opponent move. So you need to learn what is a square name and how you are going to move to the particular squares. Now coming to see this, the first square, you can see this one is A1. This is a board. There you can see alphabets below the board and the numbers 1 to 8. So the first square on the right corner left hand side is A1. Moving one square forward, this is A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8. And coming to this one, this is B1, B2 and B3, B4 like this. You can even check like this. B5, B6, B7, B8. C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, C8. So like that you can just keep guessing, seeing all the squares. Now for example, I'll just say where is this black king. Now you can find it out. There is a E below the board, so you can just move on till here and find it where it is. E, and this is 8. So now the black king is on E8. So it is very easy to identify the square names. Now coming to the next thing called castling. We'll learn what is a castling and what are its rules. Castling is a unique step that involves both in the king and the rook. So there should not be any pieces between king and the rook, and both the king and the rook are going to move in one step. So castling is a rule to save the king. So king is not safe in the center, so we need to save the king. So that's the rule called castling. We will move this king towards this side and the rook will come to the opposite side. Now I'll just show you here how to do castling. Okay, so I'll just move my pawn. so that I can move my bishop outside, and then I can move my knight outside so that I can bring this king to do castling. I'm just moving some things for black so that I just want to show what is a castling. These are the not exact moves what black is also want to do. Now doing castling, you should touch the king first and move the king 2 squares on the direction of the rook, and rook will come to the f1 square, just like this. Now my king on a corner squares are very safe. It is very difficult to attack the king in the corner, and my rook also can join the attack from the center. So castling is a very important step for any player, for any beginner level player. You need to save the kings, you need to protect the king, so you need to do castling. Now we are going to learn when we can do castling and what are the rules of castling. Now can you see my king can go both the sides and do castling. During castling, king will move only 2 squares on the direction of the rook, and rook will come to the like this. And if I move the king on this side, even rook will come to the d1 square. So castling on this side, the short side, is called short castling or king side castling. You can just do like this. Or if you want to do castling on the queen side, it is called queen side castling or long castling. You can do the castling on both sides of the board. Now we have some rules for castling. During castling, king should not be moved in the particular game. So both the king, neither the rook should not be moved. If you move the rook somewhere, or even if you come back to the same place again, now castling this side is not possible. Even though you can do castling on the queen side, but you cannot do castling on the king side because your rook is moved in that game. And if both the rooks are moved, then king cannot do castling on both the sides. If king is moved, you don't have castling chance. So that is the first rule you have to follow. When the king is moved or the rook is moved, you don't have a chance to do castling. And the next rule is, when the king is under attack, so this we call as check. When the king is under check, we cannot do castling. Most of us have a doubt, when the king is under check we can do castling, right? But we cannot. When the king is under attack, we have to defend the check. On the next move you can do castling, but right now immediately you can't do castling. Now for example, let us say I have 2 pawns here. I don't want to spoil my castling, so I just defend this check. Now I didn't move my king, I just blocked this attack, bishop attack with my pawn. Now this bishop is no longer attacking the king, so my pawn is also defended by another pawn. So if he captures, he is going to lose the bishop. So if he goes back somewhere, now I can do castling, as the king is now no more under attack. So for castling, to do castling when the king is under check, you have to block that check, or you have to capture the piece which is giving check. There are only 2 options. But once if you move the king, you don't have chance to do castling. Now coming to the second rule. Now the king is not under check, but the bishop is controlling the square where the king is going to pass. Now can you do castling? As king can go till g1, right? And the rook will come to f1. Even in this case, you cannot do castling, because king cannot pass any square that is controlled by the enemy piece. Not only bishop, if you have a queen or rook anywhere in this file that can control the f1 square to prevent the king's castling, you cannot do castling. So that is the second rule in castling. And the third important is very easy. When you have something on controlled on the g1 square, just like this, like this. So now you cannot do castling, because now it will be black's turn and this will be called as an illegal move. So when it comes to the illegal move, if you play two illegal moves in an international chess, your game is already lost. But you can do castling on the queen side if you want. Queen side there is no control. So during castling, don't forget these three rules. King should not be under attack, and any of these two squares where the king is going to move also should not be under attack. King should not be moved in the particular game, neither the rook which you are going to do castling. So these are the rules while we follow the castling. Now we'll see what is a check and what is a checkmate. Check is something but attack on the king, and checkmate means king is under attack and king don't have any moves to go. So that we represent as checkmate, and checkmate is the only way that you can win a game. We have some other ways to win a game by losing on time, by forfeit the game, but in chess we call this checkmate is the only way to win the game. So let us see some checkmate positions now. Okay, so this position, this is white to play, and I have a checkmate in one. If you want to find by yourself, just pause the video here itself and try to find what is a checkmate, or just I'm going to tell you. Okay, so queen captures the bishop on g7. Now as we know, queen will go in all directions, both like rook and the bishop. So this goes straight attacking the king. This controls these two squares like a bishop. So now my queen is attacking the king, and now if you see, king cannot move anywhere. So king cannot capture the queen as this queen is supported by the bishop. So this is a checkmate. Now king is under check and king cannot move anywhere. So it's a checkmate. So let's go to the next one. So this is much simpler. Like I can have two attacks on the pawn on h7. So with the queen I can attack the king moving cross, and I can control these two squares. King don't have any squares to escape. So knight is supporting the queen, so king even can't capture my queen. So this is another checkmate. So you can have some exercises like 1 minute. What is a checkmate here? Yeah, I think you found that. Queen g7 and some rook h3. So this is having two checks on both the sides, but which is a checkmate? Rook h3 is a mate. So if I give check on the b7 square, king is going to have another two squares, that is h6 and the h8 square. So rook h3 controls both of these squares and attack the king. Cannot come to the g7 square. My pawn is defending the g7. So rook h3 is a checkmate. And this one, so if you want to do any of these problems by yourself, just pause the video for whenever you get the position, and just try to find the checkmate position and just continue to the next one. Okay, so this is rook h8 and rook g1. I'm going a little faster. Rook h1. So just pause whenever you want. Rook h1, rook g1, bishop a6, rook d8. Okay, so this is about checkmate. Checkmate is nothing but attacking the king, and king don't have anything to move. Now we are going to learn how to start a game, how to play a chess game. Before going to that, we will find out the value of pieces. What is the value of pieces? every piece have its own value. So to determine who is better in a particular position, we can't simply count the material which is staying outside. We have to see from on the board who is having better. So for example, let us say now in this position, everyone can say queen can move like a rook or the bishop. So obviously queen is much powerful than the rook, but how much it is powerful, the exact value, we need to know the exact value, how much powerful it is. So let us say now you can clearly say queen is better, but what if I add one more piece to the black? Just like this, I'm just adding one more bishop. So now we have two pieces for black and one queen. So now who is better? So it is pretty hard to assess like this. Sometimes black may be better, sometimes white may be better, but to know the exact value who is better, we are giving some value for every piece so that you can easily determine who is better. Okay, so let us start from the least one, the least value. Let us start the least one. The least piece in the chessboard is a pawn, and the value of a pawn is, it's just 1 point. Okay, we can give any number of points to the pawn, but that based on the pawn, the remaining pieces value will change. So if I give 10 points to the pawn, then the next higher piece will be definitely more than 10, like 20, 30 something. So let us determine that least value as 1 only, and based on that one we are giving to the value to other pieces. Now you can say knight and bishop, this is the second least pieces apart from. Now both the bishop and knight are equal according to the value. There are 3 points for each. So now you can compare one bishop is equal to 3 pawns, or you can compare one knight is equal to 3 pawns. And next bigger piece is the rook, and rook is 5 points. So which is less than these two pieces? These two combined is the 6 points. 3 plus 3 is 6, and rook is alone 5 points. So rook is 5. And what about queen? Can anyone guess what about queen? Queen is of 9 points. So queen is equal to 9 pawns, or equal to 3 pieces, 3 minor pieces like 2 bishops and a knight, or 2 knights and a bishop. Queen is 9 points. Now you can easily determine the position which I have given in the past. Now bishop and rook, 5 plus 3, which is equal to 8, and queen alone stands 9 points. So in this position, if someone asks who is better, we can say queen is better. Queen is having 9 points, and combined with rook and bishop is only 8. So we are giving the value of pieces so that when you have a position on the board, when you get a chance to capture something, then you might get a doubt that is my piece bigger or my opponent's piece is bigger. So to clear any of these doubts, now by comparing that value of pieces, you can easily determine that are you gaining anything or you are losing anything. So if you have gaining anything, yeah, you can definitely capture that. If you are losing anything, you just avoid that capture, so that when you have an extra material in the end game, with that extra power you can directly try to attack the king and you can win the game. So this is about value of pieces. I hope you understood. If you have anything, you just write down the comments or reviews. I'll just reply for you. Okay, so now coming to the basic rules of chess game. How to play the game, how to start a game. So I just arranged all the pieces. Now what is the first thing we have to learn? What is the first move we have to play? So first, always white plays, as I said before. White can move anything. Most of us beginners will play the pawns towards the rooks, they'll say like this is, yeah, I'm going to open the rook. But coming to the professional chess, rooks should be here, it should operate from the center, and you have to do castling so to save the rook. So what is the first move I'm going to play? I'm going to play something which creates a lot of space for me. That means I'm going to open the pawn like this or this. Now why only this? These four squares, if you observe, these four squares are in the center of this entire chessboard. So these four squares are called center, which is very, very important. So whoever gets the control over the center, they have a better game in the middle game. So I'll just open this pawn so that my bishop diagonal will open and my queen diagonal will be opened. But I didn't mean that I will move my queen or bishop. I'm just trying to create more space for my pieces. That is how you have to play. For example, opponent plays something like b6. Now I'm going to take the full control over the center. Then I'm start moving my pieces outside, like towards the center squares. I'm going to move the bishop towards the center, and I'm ready to do castling. So bishop, just move the bishop. So before moving anything, just see what your opponent is threatening and try to defend, and just move the pieces outside and do castling. So the importance of center you can see now. So now black plays something to trying to attack your center. You can simply defend that, and you can see some of his pieces will be misplaced. Like for example, let us say e6. This bishop don't really have a good diagonal in this entire squares. Bishop e7 is very bad. d6 is simply blocking the center pawn. c5 I am controlling the c5. b4 I can attack the b4. a3 is not possible. So while controlling the center, you have a good placing of all your pieces, which creates some problem for opponent pieces. That's why center is very important. And next you have to do castling. So after e6, play knight f3, bishop e7, something like do castling. So these are the basic rules you have while playing a game like this, castling. Now whenever you after this, most of us has a doubt like what should I do if my opponent plays something like d5. Now what should I do? Shall I trade this one or shall I move forward? So these doubts can be explained only by analyzing a position. For example, in this position, moving the pawn is much better than capturing this pawn. Why? Because capturing here will lose equally and have one probability of opening this bishop diagonal, which goes into little intermediate level. But once you play this, your opponent bishop is stuck inside, and you are also having one extra move to attack his knight, which opens your bishop diagonal, so that if black castles on the king side, you can start attacking. So every move that you have to play, you have to use your own logics to create your own idea. So that will come to intermediate level, and that will come in our intermediate class. I hope you enjoyed till now. Please don't forget to subscribe, and if you want some more demo class, or if you are really interested to continue the online class, you can just call on my mobile or just mail me on my mail ID. You can find it on my website or Facebook. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this. See you in the next video. Bye.